Well, I figured since I am chilling in traffic trying to get to the hair salon that I would give you guys a quick update. Usually my quick updates are pretty long, so buckle up. I'm trying to figure out when I want to start this. It was hard for me to try to figure out because I never talked to my wife about it. Trying to figure out how I was going to upload these videos while I have 4 children and a job and friends to hang out with and people to talk to and all this other stuff, and I couldn't narrow it down. And then finally, lo and behold, communicating with my wife, which I suggest everybody to do, communicate with your wife or husband. I've decided that we are going to start doing this thing on Thursday right before I get the babies to bed, around 8:30. I like to say around 8:30 because who knows what these hellions will do, and it might make it 8:45, 8:50, who knows. But around that time, that's when I would like to start this thing. I've gotten pretty good amounts of feedback from my clients. Excited about reading, the Bible and wanting to read the Bible, and that's exciting. I hope that it's 2 heads are better than one, 3 heads are better than one. I want to really get down to the nitty-gritty of some of these books, and I think that we could get a lot from reading these books together. The Old Testament has been fun. I've had a blast reading that thing. I guess one of the things that I wanted to go over is kind of my process of how I've read the Old Testament. Everybody talks about how boring and just how difficult that must be. And honestly, it has been difficult. It is boring at sometimes, but there's a plethora of information on the plethora. Say it again. Plethora of tools on the internet that we can use. I use Grok, which is X, Twitter. I use their chat bot. It's kind of like ChatGPT. I like Grok better. I feel like there's multiple reasons why I like Grok. I feel like it just stays central to all of the answers that I get, other than ChatGPT that does not do that. Every time I put the Old Testament down, I would have Grok summarize the chapters that I read. So if I read 1 through 10, I'm gonna go to Grok and just say summarize and explain chapter 10 to me, because it is daunting trying to figure out some of these words that they're using, and some of the metaphors that they use, they don't translate well. I guess old Jewish metaphors are just completely different than how we use metaphors today. I'm not going to talk about how I'm not going to describe my wife's breasts as deer, like he does in Song of Songs. That would be awkward and weird. So yeah, Grok is such a helpful tool. If you like ChatGPT, such a helpful tool. It will really give you a good explanation of what's going on and what you're reading and why God's doing the things that they're doing and why Israel's doing the things that they're doing and who Babylon is and who Assyria is. And it's things that I would have never, ever, ever would have known without it. I mean, it's a good tutor. And just like any tool, I tell everybody, people that are against AI, you look at it as a tool. I mean, a hammer is a tool. You could build a house with a hammer, or you can beat yourself in the head with a hammer. You decide, and choose your tools and how you use them wisely. That's how I feel about that. And also with the Old Testament, I watched the Bible Project on YouTube, and the Bible Project is a fun channel where they take a poster board of each book, and they'll put these nicely placed cartoon characters and just kind of explain their interpretation of what each book is about. And highly informational, constantly trying to think of words to say. That's one thing. That's why Dumb Man. You'll understand why I call it Dumb Man's Book Club here real soon, I promise you that. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. I'm in traffic. This is ridiculous. So ridiculous. It's 11 o'clock. My client, I should be working on my client right now. Anyway, the Bible Project. Poster board, cartoon characters, little summary of what's going on. Just puts it in layman's terms for all of us. I watch that before I read a book, like Genesis or Exodus or Leviticus, Numbers, all that stuff. And then I watch it afterwards to just kind of get a better clarity of what I read. And it's given me a great perspective of what the Bible is about. Perspectives that I don't think a lot of people realize that they have. I've heard a lot of people talk to me about the Old Testament, and not to their fault, just because it is a hard book, but some of the things that they would talk about, they misinterpreted maybe, and that's okay. I'm sure that I've misinterpreted a bunch. I'll probably read the Old Testament again. I think it would be a blast to do this again and revisit the Old Testament. So if you want to dive into the Old Testament again, let me know. That's it. I guess this is long enough. Wanted to give you, a rundown of how I did it, how I've been doing it. I'm almost done. I have, I think, 4 or 5 books left. I also have the psychology book that I'm almost done with. I think I have 2 more chapters left with that. The last chapter is how to be a therapist, I think. I think. It's basically just, which I'm so stoked about. It'll be nice for me to learn probably to, hey, shut the hell up unless spoken to. I talk too much when people are talking to me, and it's a good idea. I've learned to just let people speak. Life isn't always about me like I think it is. Every day I'm learning that it's not about me. Everybody, some people that know me well know that I think that it's the Richard Hudgens show, and maybe it is and maybe it's not. So yeah. Anyway, 8:30, 8:45. That's when we'll start this thing. I have a friend who seems like they're very well versed in the New Testament, coming and expressing interest on wanting to talk about it. That would be awesome. I am not looking forward to rambling into the void, which I like to call it, which is basically talking to nobody, and help me sift through these things that I'm learning. Like I said, 2 heads are better than 1. That's all. Wish me luck in this traffic. I'm trying to get to Brooks. I'm still probably a mile away. All right. Peace, fellas. Peace. Oh, one more thing. No. We'll talk about it later. Peace.